You didn't come across this message by accident. You didn't scroll your way here. You were pulled here. Because the moment your soul crosses a certain frequency threshold, the universe stops whispering and starts commanding. And right now, if you're listening to this, it means you are standing at the edge of something colossal, a portal. A shift so massive that your entire life, your entire identity, your entire mission will never be the same once you pass through it. But here's the truth that no one wants to say out loud. Before the portal opens, before you are initiated into the next level of your power, you must face the final test. And it's not a test of strength. It's a test of alignment. It's not about what you can do. It's about what you're willing to let die. The final test is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come with a warning label. It disguises itself in patterns you've already healed, people you thought you'd outgrown, emotions you swore you'd cleared. Suddenly, everything you thought you were done with comes back stronger, louder, stickier. You start questioning your progress. You feel like you're regressing. You wonder, haven't I already passed this? But that's the trap. The final test isn't testing your knowledge. It's testing your embodiment. It's not asking, do you know how to stay in your power? It's asking, will you stay there when no one sees, when no one claps, when everything collapses around you again, even after all the progress you made? Let me ask you something real. What if this challenge you're facing right now, the confusion, the betrayal, the silence, the disconnection, what if it's not a setback? What if it's the final spiritual exam before your next initiation? What if the universe is watching, not judging, but observing to see what you'll choose now that you know better? Because many are called, yes, but only the ones who walk through this test without collapsing into their old selves are chosen to carry what's on the other side of the portal. That's the hard truth. You can't bring your ego, your need to be right, your attachment to validation through that gate. It's a frequency lock, and only the real you, stripped of all false timelines, can pass. This test is personal. It doesn't look the same for everyone. For some of us, it's a sudden silence. The universe stops responding. The synchronicities dry up. You feel like your guides have vanished. You pray and hear nothing. That's not abandonment. That's activation. You are being called to become the source of your own guidance. For others, it's external chaos, relationships falling apart, financial instability, old addictions resurfacing. Not because you failed, but because these are the final fragments of the old you trying to pull you back before you step into the vibration that makes them irrelevant. The final test always tries to seduce you into reactivity. But if you react, you loop. If you respond from your center, you rise. Here's the paradox. The final test arrives right after your deepest growth, when you're most tired, when you've already let go of so much. Why? Because only then are you empty enough to be rewritten by the portal. Only then are you soft enough to be recoded. The ones who pass are not the strongest. They are the most surrendered. They are the ones who say, even if I lose everything again, I will not abandon my alignment. I will not betray my peace. I will not shrink to fit back into a version of myself I no longer resonate with. That is the frequency that unlocks the gate. That is the vibration that proves you're not just awakened, you're initiated. In the next part, I'm going to take you into the mechanics of the portal, the energetic structure of what's waiting on the other side of this test. You'll learn how to identify the false doors that appear right before the real one opens, how to hold your field when the test gets subtle and sneaky, and how to recognize the exact moment your old self tries to resurrect. We'll go into how to collapse the loop forever, how to anchor into the version of you that's already passed the test in another timeline, and how to walk through the portal with quiet mastery and surgical precision. Because this is not about hype, it's about graduation. And you didn't come this far just to watch the door open. You came to walk through it. Let's go deeper now into the architecture of the portal itself. This portal is not physical. It's not some cosmic elevator that scoops you up into enlightenment. It's a vibrational gate, and it opens through frequency, not force. You don't find the portal. You become it. You match its resonance, and suddenly reality bends. You start seeing new paths. You feel truth rippling through your body like undeniable clarity. The air changes. Your intuition sharpens. Old timelines collapse without a fight. But to get here, you have to understand something most people overlook. The portal only opens for those who stop performing and start remembering. The final test always ends with a choice, one that seems small, subtle, even unimportant. But it's not. It's the key. You'll be presented with a familiar temptation. Maybe it's a person from your past who mirrors your old trauma bonds. Maybe it's an opportunity that looks shiny but feels slightly off. Maybe it's your own fear voice, whispering again that it's safer to stay small. These are not distractions. They are false doors. They are shadow constructs sent to see if you'll trade your evolution for comfort. And if you say yes to the wrong thing one more time, you don't get punished, you simply loop. You stay in orbit around your potential, never landing fully in it. That's what happens to most people. They feel the portal, they touch the edge of it, but they never walk through it, because they said yes to something that matched their wounds instead of their wisdom. So how do we collapse the loop? We stop choosing from memory. We stop making decisions based on who we were. We stop playing it safe in the name of logic. The portal is not logical, it's energetic. It responds to your current vibration, not your history. That means you have to make decisions as if you've already passed the test, as if you've already anchored the next version of you. Ask yourself this right now. What would the version of me who's already on the other side of this portal say no to immediately? What would they never entertain again? Who would they never explain themselves to again? That's the activation. That's the code. Your power is in your ability to embody the next version of yourself, now, not once conditions improve, not once you feel more ready, but now. This is where remembering comes in. You don't need more information. You don't need more signs. You don't need more healing. What you need is alignment with your original code, the one you carried before the world told you to be small, to dim, to fear your knowing. The portal doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be true. And that means you must become vibrationally unavailable for anything that tries to pull you back into distortion. It means you must become the frequency of the reality you're asking for. Not think about it. Not visualize it. Be it, walk like it, speak like it, choose like it. Let your nervous system stabilize around it. That's how the portal opens, not through striving, but through saturation. Now, Let me show you the portal's final layer, silence. This is the most overlooked part. The moment right before the portal opens is always accompanied by deep silence. It feels like nothing is happening. You're doing everything right, holding your energy, setting boundaries, staying aligned, and yet nothing. But that nothing is everything. That stillness is the final calibration. The universe is checking your signal, watching your posture, waiting to see if you'll collapse into fear because you're not getting immediate feedback, or if you'll stay seated in your power even when it feels like no one is watching. Because here's the secret: the portal opens the moment you stop needing it to. The moment you say, even if nothing changes, I will not betray my truth. That's when it cracks open. That's when the gate recognizes you. You see, the portal is not a reward. It's a recognition. It's a mirror that only reflects your truest self. And if you're still waiting for it to arrive, you've missed the point. The portal is already here. It's been here. But it only reveals itself to those who become the version of themselves that exists on the other side. That's the paradox. You don't walk through the portal to become new, you become new, and then the portal responds. It's a frequency lock, and the key has always been in your embodiment. In the final part, I'm going to show you what actually happens after the portal opens. We'll explore the energetic aftermath, how timelines collapse, how to stabilize the new reality so you don't fall back into old cycles, and how to walk with the level of spiritual command that makes you unshakable. You'll learn how to move through the world without leaking energy, how to speak with the authority of someone who doesn't need to prove anything, and how to become the portal for others, a living transmission of what's truly possible when someone refuses to compromise with distortion ever again. You've waited long enough. Now it's time to walk as the one who already passed the test. So the portal opens, and it doesn't look like fireworks. It doesn't feel like ecstasy. It feels like clarity. Bone deep, cellular level, no one can touch you clarity. You don't shout it. You don't announce it. You just know. You wake up and feel the frequency of your past no longer having access to you. You don't run from it. You don't hate it. You bless it from a distance. Because something irreversible has shifted, you're no longer a seeker. You're now a carrier of codes, of peace, of alignment so pure it dissolves distortion in real time. But here's where everything changes. Once you cross the portal, the real test begins. Can you hold the power without leaking it? Can you walk in the new world without slipping back into the costumes of the old? You see, the portal doesn't just open one way. It stays open behind you too, and if you're not intentional, your body might still respond to old triggers. Your voice might still want to explain. Your energy might still want to prove. Because for most of your life, you were trained to survive by performing. And now, you're not performing anymore. You're transmitting. That means the people you used to overgive to might say you've changed. The ones who fed off your self-doubt might say you've become cold. The systems that used to manipulate you might start glitching around your presence. Not because you're wrong, but because your field is now clean. And anything that can't meet that level will either rise or fall away. This is where most chosen ones make the mistake. They exit the portal and immediately go back to helping. They feel the power, the clarity, the love, and they want to give it away too soon. But your new frequency is fragile at first. It's like a newborn. It needs protection, integration, anchoring. If you rush to share it, to teach it, to broadcast it, you'll leak it. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you haven't fully sealed the code inside your nervous system yet. So hear this clearly: your silence is sacred now. Your stillness is a strategy, not for hiding but for rooting. So that when you do finally choose to speak, move, act, it lands like thunder, not noise, resonance. And now we come to the final embodiment, walking in the new world with command. This is not about dominance. It's about presence. It's about knowing that your frequency speaks before your mouth ever does. It's about entering every space with the question, not will they like me? But what is my energy transmitting right now, without needing to say a word? When you've truly crossed the portal, you begin to govern your vibration like a sovereign field. You don't chase, you don't explain, you don't defend, you radiate. And here's the wild part: people will start responding to you differently, even if you say nothing. They'll feel the shift. Some will be magnetized, others will be repelled. But none of it will touch your core, because your identity is no longer built on their response. It's built on alignment with Source. So let me ask you this final question. Are you still trying to bring people into your new timeline who never asked to evolve? Because this is what will cost you the most after the portal, trying to carry those who haven't chosen themselves yet. You are not here to convince. You are not here to rescue. You are not here to prove your growth. You're here to become the frequency that makes truth unavoidable. That's how you lead now, with no effort, with no performance, just pure, calibrated, unshakable embodiment. You cross the portal, you pass the test. Now the only work left is to walk in it. If you made it to the end, this wasn't a video. This was a transmission, a reflection of what your soul already knows. You didn't watch this, you remembered through it. Send this to the quiet warriors, the ones who don't post much but feel everything, the ones who've been walking through the fire in silence, the ones who've said yes to the void and came back encoded with something divine. You are not becoming powerful. You are remembering that you always were. And now that you've crossed the portal, the world will never be the same.